Okay, good morning, fire breathers. Happy Thursday. You guys have been crushing it this week, so just continue to keep up the good work. And we're just gonna roll right into it. We're gonna start with the home, and I'm gonna adjust, and then we'll roll into the gym. So home, your warm-up movements include glute kicks. So for your glute kicks, again, you can do this if you need to. If you want to jump it, that's fine too. Whatever your body needs, whatever you can do. If you need more of a stretch, you can do this number. If you need to get the blood flowing, run them. Just as always, pull with your glutes and your hamstrings and stretch the front of that leg. Walk the dogs are a down dog, holding with the arms, flexing and extending through your heels for an active calf and hamstring stretch. I should be able to come here and we'll be good. So, hands about shoulder width apart, knees underneath your hips, get up on your toes, hips up, straighten those legs, push back as far as you are able to keep those legs straight. So, hands are screwed into the ground, pressing through your fingers and your palms, and you want to try to get your arms in line with your ears, and you want a nice straight back. So you're going to be extending through your spine and your shoulders, and then you're going to bend one knee as you press the opposite heel to the ground, and then switch back and forth. Okay, so we're not going fast with this. We're also not taking too long of a hold, just extending and pressing through. And then your last movement is a Cobra press. Face down, your feet are gonna be flat if you can. You're gonna squeeze your glutes, always drive your hips down into the ground. As you press up, lift your chest up as high as you can, engaging your lower back, holding for a second or two, then back down to the ground, and then pressing. Okay, so back up, back up, back up. Okay, this should be good. Okay, so down to the ground, squeeze, lift up, hips to the ground, chest up, and then lower, and then up, and then lower. All right? And then your movements for your workout. You have 5 rounds, each round for time, and your score is your slowest round. So again, you don't necessarily want to sandbag it. You want to constantly be moving. And you're starting with bear balances. Look like this. And then this is going to be your count. Each side is 1. So, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, toes are curled, and then you're going to, so this is our bear balance. Then you're going to extend your opposite leg, opposite arm. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you don't need to hold the top portion for a long amount of time, but again, always squeezing the butt up top as you extend, and then make sure you're getting a good, nice extension through the arm. Hold, hit your position, switch. Hit your position, switch. This is a balance and control game, so moving too quickly, you're not going to hit your range of motion, and you're going to fall over. We don't want that. But moving too slowly, obviously, deflects from our score. So find that balance. How quickly and efficiently can you move while keeping your balance and maintaining your full range of motion. After your bear balances, you have flutter kicks. For your flutter kick, you're only counting one side. So, you're going to lay down, scoop your shoulders up like you're going to crunch, driving that belly button down to the floor. That keeps your back flat, so we don't want any arching or popping of our lower back up off the ground. So belly button in, back is flat, hips are kind of up again, so we're kind of in a mini crunch. Legs extend out for as low as you can maintain that flat back. So for some of us, that's going to be here. For some of us, that's going to be here. Whatever challenges you is fine. And then you're fluttering your feet down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And then your final movement, you have Supermans. All floor work today. So you're gonna roll onto your belly, feet straight out behind you, nice and long and active, points through your toes. Hands are gonna do the same thing, arms straight out in front of you, pointing straight through those fingers. So everything nice and tight, down against the ground, lift, down, 2, 3, 4, and so on until you hit your number. Questions, comments, concerns on that? If you need scaling options, your scaling for the bear balances are going to be, I'm assuming if you can't lay on the ground, that's going to be the issue. If you can't balance on your toes, and you can do this, you can just do bird dogs, okay? So that takes some of the balance off of it. If you're unable to get down on your knees like that, you're gonna do reaches like this, okay? So those are your scaling options. Scaling options for the flutter kicks. Again, if you're unable to be on your knees and you can't, or I'm sorry, be on your back upside down like that, if you have something that's excluding you from that position, we can do a standing ab exercise depending on your needs. So let me know, that's going to be very individual. And then the Supermans, if you're unable to lay flat back on the ground, you can do good mornings standing, okay? Hip hinge, down and up. So that's that. Have fun home track. Gym. I'm gonna scoot you up. Gym, you got a lot of fun work ahead of you today. So let's see if I can keep track of what we're doing here. Your warm up, you're actually warming up for squats. So air squats for your warm up are, don't just go through them. Stretch out kind of what you need to. Open those hips. Hang out down here if you need to. Wiggle into your ankles. Keep that chest up. Stretch that back as you stand up. Wiggle through your hips. Open those hips up top. So don't just bust out your 5 air squats. Wiggle and stretch through it. Then you've got 10 per side banded side steps or lateral leg raises, or both, just depending on what you want to do or how you have to do it. So if you have access to an exercise small band, or if you want to stand on a full exercise band, what those look like is feet underneath your hips, so you're applying tension to that band at all times. Core is activated. You're going to pop your hips just a little bit. Again, we're going to engage those glutes and those hamstrings in that ready, active position. And then as you're moving, you're leading with your glute as you do a little step out to the side. So we're not like using our ankles to step out. We're not bending our legs. It's like a little penguin side shuffle, okay? You also don't want to turn and extend and hyperextend. Small movement, good glute activation. If you want to do lateral leg raises, you can do those laying with your foot against the ground. You can do them standing with your foot against the wall and slide, keeping upright if you can, and sliding that leg up as high as you can go. Then you've got each side forward and lateral lunges. Again, just warming everything up. Big lunge forward, and then lunge out to the side. You can do all reps on one side and then switch, or you can alternate. And then you've got pause squats as a warm up. make these overhead squats, since overhead squats are your strength. So as we're rolling into this, let's talk about these overhead squats. For your strength portion, these are from the rig. You're gonna have your bar in your rack position, put your hands in your wide snatch grip position. Back racket, okay? Everything nice and tight. Back away from where you are. Now, depending on the weight and your personal preference, you can get that bar up overhead however you want. You can push press, you can push jerk, or you can split jerk. Then feet together. However you get there, you want your feet in your squat position. You want your shoulder blades back and down into their lat pocket, pressing up into that bar without shrugging our shoulders high, okay? Twisting, so armpits forward, bending, thinking of bending, breaking that bar in half as you drive up to the ceiling. You're not popping your ribs, they're nice and tight. Then from here, you're sending your hips back and straight down as you squat, back and down. So, just like all of our squats, you want to keep your weight in your heels, okay? Sending those hips back as you squat down, opening those knees out to the side, and then driving those heels through the floor and using your hips, glutes, hamstrings to drive yourself up. The tighter and the more stable you are in your core and with your shoulders, the easier the overhead squat is going to be. So my favorite thing to say about overhead squats is it's a back squat with a bar overhead. The squat itself is not heavy. It's the stabilization and maintaining that overhead position. So lock it in. Think, my torso's not moving. So when I say get tight, stay tight, that's what I mean specifically for overhead squats. You're locked in. Everything's tight. You're driving up into that bar. Your core is active. Belly button's in, your back supported. That's what we mean by tight. And the more stable you are up here, the easier the squat is. Once you get through that Metcon 1, you have an old main site workout. So this is a staple. So that's what MS is, main site 11:01:23. Classic workout, 3 rounds for time, 10 deadlifts at 275, 185, and 50 double unders. So you just overhead squatted, warm up your deadlift, get to that working weight. Remember, we're moving quickly. We are always moving well. So traditional deadlift setup, hands outside your feet, feet about hips width apart, driving those heels through the ground. Your shoulders are over the bar. You lift as one unit until that bar is clear of your knees. Then you're wrapping that bar around you to keep your lats active as you squeeze your hips to the bar and come to standing. This is as far as you need to stand up. Do not pull with your back and your shoulders. Don't shrug. We don't need to do upright shoulder shrugs. Okay, we don't need to come like this. That's too much strain on our back. Just a straight line. This is it. Squeeze your butt. If you keep those shoulders back, squeeze a lemon, squeeze an orange in your armpit to keep that bar wrapped tight against you. And then to reverse your movement, to keep that tension, to keep your back safe, you're going to keep that bar against your thighs. Slide those hips back as you let that bar get to your knees and then bend. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you can maintain that 4-point deadlift, one, it allows you to regulate your breathing, which allows you to regulate your heart rate and allows you to keep your tension. So that way we're not deadlifting and then doing this and then getting set and then up and then we're deadlifting and then resetting and up. No good, we don't want that, okay? For your double unders, just try to get them unbroken. That's how you're gonna get through this quickly. So scaling options for this, remember, you could always lighten the load. You can do 3 times the amount of single unders or do penguin flaps. Penguin flaps feel ridiculous. The more ridiculous it feels, the more you're learning, which will teach you skills that you don't currently have. To learn the rhythm for a double under, 1 jump, 2 flaps against your thighs. Okay, so this is a single under. This is a double under. Okay, so there's that. Then strength part 2, we've got sumo deadlifts again. A lighter load, more volume. So feet wide, sort of turned out 11 and 2. They don't need to be straightforward. I mean, I guess if you need to turn them all the way out, that's up to you, but hands inside your legs for this one. But from there, everything else is the same idea, right? So hips back, down as you pull. Keep your hands on your barbell for all your reps. Okay, train that grip. Seated dumbbell press, you're doing single arm for these, and then switching. Okay. Banded good mornings, high volume good mornings, they're great for you. Again, with a good morning, this isn't my band, but you want to think, slide your hips back, not bend forward. So when we think bend forward when we do good mornings, that's when we tend to round because we're trying to get as low as we can, and this doesn't feel comfortable, but that's what we do a lot of times. Shoulder blades back and down, belly button in, nice flat back, and those hips are just hinging. So you almost want to think seeing your toes the entire time. Hips back, 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 back until you feel a nice good stretch. You're not compromising that spinal position, and up. For the bands, you can loop it around your neck and then kind of hold it out to the side so it's not digging into your traps. And then your score for this workout is a 50-foot single arm overhead carry. Dumbbell, kettlebell, plate, whatever you have that you can safely but heavily get up overhead, locking it in, and carry for your distance. Ideally, you're doing this unbroken, so 50 feet out or 25 feet out, 25 feet back, and then switching. If at any point you need to set it down and take a break, lighten the load on the next round. Goal is to get this unbroken. All right. Metcon 2. Jim's got a lot of work today. One time through, Psyche is the name of this one. Heavy wall ball shots. That ball starts on the ground. You need to clean it up, to come to full extension. This is where your rep starts. Balls here. Hips down below parallel. Hit your target. Your target is either 10 feet or 9 feet up in the air for males and females. Jump if you need to. Your legs are bigger than your arms. Your legs have more power. Your legs have more endurance. They carry you every day, right? As you walk and squat and deadlift and do all these other things. So even if you're not used to it, try to power that ball with your legs. So think jump, and then your arms are obviously going to press and get that ball to the target, but make your legs do the work. So down, jump. Let those arms just finish. Keep your breaks for your wall ball sets short. Shake it off. Take a deep breath. Walk back up to your ball. Go. Knock it out. The only way through it is through it, so just get it done. The faster you get it done, the faster you're done and over with, right? So knock them out. Get them out of the way. Hand release push-ups. I went over this yesterday for the home workout, so go ahead and look at yesterday's video for those. Then you've got total alternating pistols. I did address pistols at one point last week, so go back and find that video for points of performance. But just remember, good reps, always integrity. Imagine I'm watching you, right? You only shortchange yourself by cutting yourself short. Foot stays up off the ground, working leg, hip below your knee, stand up, and then put that foot down. And then overhead squats. It is not from a rig, it is from the ground. So if you can snatch it up into place, do that. If you need to clean it, back rack it, wide hands, and then go, that's fine. Do what you gotta do. Get that bar up into position, and then you're repping out overhead squats. It's heavy-ish, but we still want good reps. All the way down, all the way up. Don't half-ass it. Literally, don't half-ass it. All the way down, all the way up. No quarter squats. Scaling options for this, if you don't have access to a heavy wall ball, lighten the load. You'll scale it, and that'll be a scaled score, but that's fine. Still a high volume, it's going to suck. If you have access to that weight, but you don't have a place to do wall ball shots, do med ball cleans. Slightly different, but it gets you used to using that med ball. If you don't have medicine balls, you can't do the med ball cleans, you can't do wall ball shots, your next best is a thruster with an empty barbell. And if you don't or can't do thrusters with an empty barbell, you can do dumbbell thrusters, kettlebell thrusters, or jumping air squats. Those are all variations of how to sub out for those heavy wall balls. Hand release push-ups, you can do them off your knees if you absolutely cannot go up off your toes. Pistols, again, I talked about scaling options last week. Your first scaled option is a feet together squat. So it trains that narrow balance that you need. And then overhead squats, you can either lighten the load if you absolutely need to, if it's above your max. You can do front squats if you are unable to overhead squat. So those are those. Ring muscle ups are your skill gym. So I list some ideas. Please also note that this is 5 to 10 minutes. Do not tear your hands and don't spend forever on these unless this is your goat that you are trying to slay. Then slay away. There's a lot of great videos out there for drills for ring muscle ups. So, low rings, right? Using your feet, just practicing your strict muscle ups to get that muscle memory down. Feet up and practicing the kip, using some less of your body weight. Those are all great things. So again, I know if you're in the Cincinnati area, I'm going to refer you to Coach Keith at Kids First. Hit him up. He works with sanctionals athletes. He has worked with myself, who is not a sanctionals athlete, but he got me stringing together my ring muscle ups like it was a piece of cake when in the gym I was doing singles because I couldn't figure out how to string them together. So he is my favorite in-person resource if you have access to that. And then my other recommendation that I haven't physically gone to any of their seminars or anything, but I have been following them online and I own their book and I love their stuff, is Freestyle Connection. And the Freestyle Way, I think, is what they might call themselves now, but it's Coach Carl Paoli from Gymnastics WOD back in the day. He's got a ton of great videos on YouTube, and you can check out their Instagram, and all their coaches have great stuff as well. CrossFit Gymnastics also has resources available, so some of their stuff is good too. if you like the whole strict before kipping, and then how to build up your strength for those. So lots of great resources out there. We all have smartphones. Google, look it up. Instagram and Facebook, like there are resources. Ring muscle ups, gymnastic skills. So having someone give you that feedback in person can help. And again, in my experience, as never having done any of this before, sometimes it just takes playing with it. Like, let your expectations go and play. Have fun with the rings. You're learning a new skill. Pretend you're a child that enjoys this type of thing. Let go of your fear. Let go of your fear of failure and just play with it and just try it and go with it and have fun with it and see what happens. Try a new drill. You might not think that it's something that you need, but it might help you. And yeah, one of my old bosses had told me fail somewhere new, and I also loved that. Like, do something different and find a new place to fail, because that's how you know you're making progress and trying something harder. So, super long video today. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Questions, comments, concerns, hit me up. I love being added. Don't be creepy, but you can DM me. Instagram, Facebook, hit me up here on YouTube. And yeah, keep up the good work. Check out the website and talk to y'all later. Dracaris.